What's up, everybody? I'm back at you again, and we're going to get into the infrastructure news. The House and Senate passed the $1 trillion infrastructure bill. It's just up to Joe Biden to sign it. We're going to keep politics out of this one. I'm completely no opinion on any of that. We're just out here to make some money. And I'm going to get into the stocks that are, in my opinion, going to do fantastic. Monday, most likely the pre-market, we're going to have a huge rally, and I'm actually going to place my orders in the pre-market. But we're going to get it into this, and I'm going to give you guys the stocks that I'm going to be buying this week. And let's go. All right, everybody. As you may know, we've got the infrastructure bill, $1 trillion package. House and Senate passed it. It's up to Biden, and he says the final passage of the $1 trillion infrastructure bill plan is a big step forward. So most likely, it's expected that he is going to pass this. So what are my plays moving into this? Well, first off, I'm going to be on Sunday placing orders to buy pre-market. If you guys don't have pre-market access, I highly recommend Webull. I've got a link for you guys. You can get one free stock with depositing any amount currently. I highly recommend it, and it gives you access to the pre-market and the after hours. Now, one potential stock you could get into is something like Ford. We got the $12,500 credit. And now, I personally wouldn't really recommend Tesla right now. I bet you it will probably run regardless. I feel like the upside to me, short term at least, is kind of limited. Long term, yeah, I think Tesla's a win. But honestly, they are not going to benefit by this 12,500. Companies like Ford, unionized companies, take note that at that summit, Tesla wasn't there. They're the only vehicle manufacturer that actually only creates EVs. So it's kind of funny to me. But, this is obviously money behind the scenes making their moves. But regardless, I think Ford is going to be a buy, and it's probably going to rally this week here. But I'm not really going to get into Ford. That's just a side note. So wind and solar, we're getting 400 million for wind energy, 320 million for solar, and I'm going to get into a stock here. One potential solar stock you could play is Sunrun, and this has been on a nice uptrend diagonal. I would personally buy it here. I'm not worried about it price-wise. Take note here that once the election was complete, getting out of December of last year, coming into January, we had that huge run-up. Almost reached $100, barely reached $100, and just been dropping since. And I think we could see something similar. I don't think it'll be the same thing, but I could definitely see this coming up to the 60s quite easily, in my opinion. And that's basically what I'm going to do as a solar play. And as for energy storage, we've got 355 million for pilot projects, an additional 150 million towards an initiative that focuses on long duration storage. And one potential stock, very small cap, I'll add a small cap here that could potentially benefit greatly and could do very great coming this week, is a $169 million market cap, Ozop Energy. This can be a polarizing stock. Some people look at it like, oh, it's a scam, whatever. Some people are very bullish on it. It kind of depends on what side of the spectrum you're on. I think regardless of what your thoughts on it are, I think it will run up this week just on that infrastructure news. For the simple fact that looking at it here, same thing, guys. Coming into January, February, huge run up on infrastructure, that whole energy, people getting all excited about that. New administration, say what you will about them, but regardless, people know, the Democrats are typically on the more energy preservation side, green energy. So people got hyped into this one. It ran up crazy, almost reached 39.40 cents. And then we came down, and now we're trading at about 3-4 cents. And I think right where it's at, I think honestly it is at a pretty good base. I think there's very limited downside. You could always just play this as a swing trade or even a day trade. Get into this during the day, get out by the end of the day or end of the week, something like that. Just get out when you see a nice run up. I'm feeling pretty good about Ozop though, and I think with it being such a small cap, it can greatly move like it did previously. And if you want to get into another battery storage play, we've got CleanSpark, although a lot of the people, you have the market looks at this one, I feel like, solely as a Bitcoin play. When Bitcoin goes up, it goes up typically. When Bitcoin goes down, this goes down. But I want you to take note here, though, that with the RSI, we are getting to that oversold territory. We had a huge drop Friday. I think it's looking like a buy to me. I think, honestly, this thing, if you're not in it now, you could get in and out on a day trade. You could even play some calls for the week, something like that. I think that $20 is going to be our base if it does fall back a little bit further. So to me, very limited risk. But with this one, keep an eye on Bitcoin and what it's doing coming into Monday. But very bullish on this one on the long term. And yeah, I've got plenty of CleanSpark videos if you guys want to check those out. I'm very bullish on CleanSpark, but for a short-term play, you can definitely get in and get out and make some quick money on this one. Oh, and real quick, concerning CleanSpark and Bitcoin, we are in this bullish pennant. Typically a bullish pennant is after a run up. I guess you could call this a run up, but in the long picture, I wouldn't call this a run up. But short term, this is definitely a nice little run up, and we've been kind of trading downwards. We're gonna see if it breaks this, or if it breaks this to the upside or breaks it to the downside, and that could give us some insight of where Bitcoin could potentially go. This is just kind of an indicator. It might not even do this. It might just drop and then come back up. Who knows? But it's just something to take note of and keep in the back of your mind while you're watching Bitcoin and CleanSpark. Now, as for the infrastructure bill, you will also see that electric vehicles, we're getting about a $7.5 billion for EV charging infrastructure. So companies like Volta, EV Go, Wallbox, ChargePoint, these ones are going to probably do very great coming into this week. And you will see that it provides 2.5 billion for zero emission school buses. Maybe a company like Lion Electric, Proterra, something like that. I'm not too knowledgeable about those, but that's a potential play you could go with. Now looking at Volta here, we did run up pretty nicely. That was on the president's speech. It ran up just like CleanSpark and all the other EVs did. But where it's at, I think it's gonna do great still. I think to me it's a buy. Downside isn't. I don't see that 650 coming back in my opinion, at least anytime soon. I think we're gonna trade higher. And same kind of story. We had a huge gap up, huge run up to about $16, $17, and then we came down, and this was right around when everyone was getting all excited about clean energy. In my opinion, we're also looking at a potential gap up, and I see this definitely trading in the tens and up. No problem. This could happen literally on Monday, and I suspect with most all of these that we're going to have a huge run up on the pre-market. That's why I'm going to get in right in the beginning of the pre-market. If I see a reason to take maybe 10-20% of profit off the table into the market, I will do that. It could be a huge run up and then a drop into the market and then a continued run up. That's potentially what I could see, or we could just have a whole day where it's just in an upward trend. But I'm definitely very bullish on Volta. But just keep an eye on the RSI. Once it gets to overbought, you might consider taking some profits out, maybe taking 10%, 20%, something like that, just to lock in some profits and get ready for a little pullback to buy in and bounce it up again and ride that wave. And another EV charging stock that I'm extremely bullish on. We're looking at ChargePoint here. It did get overbought, came down, but now we're right here. The RSI reset very nice, so we're looking at a very nice run potentially. I could definitely see this working its way to 27 or so. Very bullish on ChargePoint. And keep in mind also, a lot of this infrastructure bill is going to be paying for nice roads, and who's going to benefit with that? Well, none other than Caterpillar, CAT, C-A-T. And this one, we've actually got a nice bullish pennant here. And, keep a note, if this breaks this, we can definitely trade higher. We did gap up though, so just be aware that we did gap up. We filled these previous gaps. I definitely see this coming up here as excitement for the infrastructure bill comes in and a bunch of money gets pumped into this. A lot of volume could potentially come on Monday and throughout the week. And keep in mind also with this one, the RSI is hanging out right in the middle. Potential room to run before people think about taking profits, in my opinion. But that's all I got for you guys. Just a quick update on what I'm going to be doing regarding the infrastructure bill and the money I'm going to be trying to make this week. But thanks again, guys, and I will see you next time.